welcome to our art history podcast. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens. Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Mice. We're fucking with them. They're not up to anything. They're not up to anything. They're just trying to live their lives. Mice are out there like, can I live?
Can they catch a break?
Can they live, Jeffrey? That's what I want to know.
What are we doing to him now? I remember we talked about sticking ears on him. We stuck an ear on a mouse.
Love to stick an ear on a mouse, but baby, that was 10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago.
That was 10 years and 10 years ago. 1 decade and 10 years. That's the name of the celebration. We're here celebrating the 10th anniversary of sticking a fucking ear on a mouse like a bunch of nightmare people.
Yeah.
Like the horrible people we are. Like the garbage creatures we are in control of this planet. It's been 10 years to the day. It hasn't. I don't want to lead people too far down that road.
Feels like it, but it has not. What are we doing to mice now? What is left to be done to a mouse?
What if I told you, Jeff, that somebody looked at a mouse and said, "Mouse is good, but you know what mouse is not?
What?
Human.
What's it not?
Not human.
Mouse isn't human?
How could we make mouse more human?"
I thought the whole reason we fucked with mice is because they were, close to human.
They're very close to humanish. We know things. We like doing studies on their brain because they have similar brain structures to us. We love to test shit on a mouse. Love it.
Yeah. But they need to be more human?
I don't know that they need, but certainly these people thought so. Here's what's up, Jeff. This was sent in to us on the Facebook group, which, hey, facebook.com/group/we have concerns. Keep giving billionaires attention and money in these trying times. Listen, We've checked in on Jeff Bezos, and we know that Jeff Bezos is okay. I can stop waking up during this pandemic in cold sweats wondering if Jeffy B is fine.
I heard he's officially the first trillionaire.
See, he's fine. We don't need to worry about it. I was worried. I was worried he wasn't going to make it to trillionaire.
Make it to the trill. He wasn't going to make it to the T. He was at the B. I didn't know if he was going to make it to the T. He made it to the T. We can all rest easy now.
Baby, we're 2 months in and I'm at the H. You know what I mean? I'm at the H. Yeah. I used to be at the little t. I used to be at the lowercase t, but now I'm at the H. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad Jeff Bezos is okay. You know what I mean? I'm glad he's fine.
You don't want to fall to the D, You
don't want that. You don't want that. You might get there. But you don't want to.
You don't want that.
Woo! This was sent in by Chris Sykes, and it's a headline that says, "Scientists genetically modified a mouse to be 4% human."
4% human.
That's 4% more human than Mark Zuckerberg. That's 4% more human than Jeff Bezos.
Was this a Facebook?
This was a Facebook
project, so that they can eventually will use this technology on the Zuck.
They want to use it on the Zuck's face so he can make a human emotion with it. They're like, if we could just get him to 4% more human, people will actually believe anything that comes out of his mouth.
Baby steps,
Baby steps.
So this doesn't sound to me like very much human.
Well, it's 4%. More human than mouse should be.
I guess that's true.
Like, if you think about how much mouse should be in a mouse, Jeff, and you were to represent it in percentages, what would you say? What percentage of mouse should a mouse be?
I would say I'm going to just spitball 100%.
100%. This one's only 96. Mouse. Think about that.
Only 96% mouse. That's
only
like when
96.
you go to the grocery store and it's like, it's like 99% fat free. It's like that means 1% is just pure fat in this.
99% fat free. Yeah, that's like saying don't worry, our city is 99% crime free. Okay, so there's still crime.
Yeah.
So there's crime in the city then. You said
when I take a drink of your milk, the 100th drink is pure fat. It's just all fat.
Is that how you think it works?
99 sips, delicious fat-free milk.
That's
that 100th sip.
I literally remember a kid when we were learning about odds and percentages. I remember a kid in I guess it was early junior high, talking to me about how you can jump out at, like, what it meant was you can jump out of a plane 99 times and the 100th time you jump out. So, like, as long as you only jump out of a plane, like
99
times, you're good. I was like, wait, and I was like, are you telling me that you believe everyone dies on their 100th jump? And he was like, no, that's not what it means.
The problem is that people just lose count. That's really the problem, is that you lose track of it, and you're like, I'm sure I'm still in the 90s somewhere. No problem.
And it's part of the skydiver's code that you can't write it down.
Right.
Because that gets rid of the excitement.
It's no fun if you know for sure.
If you know for sure, you're not allowed to make any tally marks on anything. Can't use a computer program. Can't put it in notes.
When the guy plummets to his death, everybody stands around and goes, must have been his 100th, I guess.
That was his 100th, I guess. I counted 97. Listen, I'm new. I just started jumping with you guys like a couple weeks ago, and I only know about 10. I only know about 10 that he did.
You're in the clear. No one's blaming you, Harold.
All right, thank you.
You are in the clear.
Oh,
but,
God.
you know,
curse you, mathematics!
Jimmy over here clearly should have been keeping track.
But you're not allowed. You're not allowed to keep track. If Jimmy was keeping track, what's the point of even life if you're going to keep track? Anyway, no, there was a kid who literally thought that when I was, and that was the first time I realized that the older we get doesn't necessarily mean the smarter we get automatically.
You know, my favorite one of these is that if you've ever driven into Vegas and you see the billboards that say our slot machines have 99% payouts.
That's impossible.
That's literally telling you they take 1% of your money guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
If they pay out 99% of the money that they get in, they are definitely taking... That is an insurmountable fraction. You will never get your money back if they always take 1% of it.
Oh, baby. But what if I'm one of the ones? No, you don't understand. There's no one of the ones here. That's whatever.
They're literally telling you
total.
They're advertising that we keep 1% of your money guaranteed.
That's
basically, we are not giving back that percent.
That's what the Welcome to Vegas sign says. Welcome to Las Vegas. We take at least 1% of your money guaranteed. But usually a lot more.
Usually a lot more. So tell me what this 4% of human means to the mice. I mean, I feel like human ear on mice was a lot more than 4%.
That's definitely a lot more human, but it's not technically it's not technically part of the mouse. That was an ear that was grafted to the mouse, so it's added some extra mass that is 100% human to some mass that's 100% mouse.
That we're into you're 125% now? You got 100% mouse, but 25% human on the top?
It's terrifying to me, our grasp on math as an award-winning science podcast.
Hey,
terrifying.
We never made any claims about math.
No, and listen, we all know that math is not a science.
Not a science. If there's one thing I know about math
is a
science.
Feeling. You know what I mean?
Math is a sensation, a weird tingling in my foot.
Math is a cool breeze on a warm summer's day. You know what I mean? That's what math is.
Math is the fifth element.
Oh, I thought it was love. I was wrong.
No, it's math.
Whoa. I thought it was Mila Jovovich or love, depending on how you read the end of that film. Jeff, here's what's up. We took a mouse.
Yeah.
And I'm using the human we here because we're all at fault. Whenever we talk about these things and we say we're all at fault is what that means.
We are all equally guilty of this horror against nature. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So there is there was a team that took some stem cells. We love stem cells. We love stem cells. Yeah. And just went ahead and injected human stem cells into mouse embryos.
Okay.
Just like let's see.
Yeah.
Just like let's see, right?
Yeah.
Like why not?
So we injected it into a mouse embryo. Mm-hmm. And only 4% got in there?
Well, but here's the thing, Jeff. We're talking about using human stem cells. Now, stem cells, in case you're not up on them or you haven't heard about stem cells in a while, other stuff has sort of been dominating the news lately. Stem cells are basically they're mostly found in fetuses and younger humans, but they're basically cells that can sort of become any other cell as needed within humans.
Right.
That's basically
Yes.
the shorthand. But that's in humans, Jeff.
Ooh.
You put a human stem cell into a mouse, it's not supposed to be mouse cells.
Right. We've done a lot of experimentation with mouse stem cells, but you're saying this is taking human fetus stem cells, putting them into mouse, and seeing if they play well together, seeing how they hang out, what happens next.
You would expect 0% of human cells to work in mouse.
Right. You're saying that it should just reject them. They should just die, right?
Exactly. They should just go about their business and then eventually die off these cells. But no, 4% of them took. In just over 2 weeks, the team had more mature mouse embryos that contained up to 4% human cells. These are chimeras, Jeff.
These cells will do anything.
These are
They don't
chimeras. Chimeras are a scientific term, but they're also a mythological term. It's that Greek monster with like, what is it? It's
a lion head, a snake body, or snake tail, and a something else.
Something else. I think it's like
got three things.
I think it's like an adorable puppy nose.
Yes, it's a lion head,
Yeah.
a snake tail, and adorable puppy paws.
Yes, and you may remember the myths where the great warriors like Agamemnon had to boop that snoot.
To boop that snoot. Yes,
They got into
they had to dodging out of the way of the snake tail the entire time in order to get close enough to boop that snoot.
I think we all remember in the Odyssey when Odysseus' ship was dashed up against the rocks, and in order to get off of an island, he had to solve the mystery of booping the snoot. Anyway, chimeras are basically like any species or any animal that is a mix of two genetic species, and these are chimeras, which are incredibly rare, right? So what this means is like,
What this means is we got to boop some snoots.
we gotta
sounds
boop
like.
some snoots. So like
We gotta
humans.
boop some mouse snoots.
So here's what's up. We gotta make tiny argonauts
Oh, I'm ready for this.
to boop those snoots.
We got a Honey, I Shrunk Some Kids so they can boop some mouse snoots.
After letting the embryos develop for a further 17 days, the scientists discovered that human cells had spread throughout much of the developing animal.
Wow.
Okay, these human
That is
cells
crazy.
found in tissue that would form heart and brain and were especially plentiful in the blood.
Wow.
Yeah, and
So
they didn't all develop.
It's completely integrated into the systems of the body. It's not like it I don't know, formed a weird organ on this thing or even a tumor. I would assume it would like form some sort of tumor on it.
Or cause some sort of like weird, some sort of like strange growth that was tumorous or cancerous or something. But it actually worked, and it didn't work in the same way in every mouse. So like some of the mice had human cells found in like their eyes, some of them had it found in their lungs, some of them found in the blood, but like it was different for every mouse. And what's kind of interesting about this is this means that we could one day use animals to grow human organs.
So why wouldn't we just use the stem cells outside the animal? Don't we have the scaffolding and stuff? You're saying that it's actually more efficient to put them into an animal and let the systems of an animal grow the organs we need? Potentially
one day. So what you're talking about is like the scaffolding of an organ. So for the scaffolding of an organ to work, it's basically so say you need a heart, right?
I need a heart.
And I die. God, my mouth to God's ears, please, I die soon. And I have checked off on my driver's license the little organ donor card.
Says,
right?
Give my heart to
my
Jeff.
heart. I said I have it written in blood. Give my heart, not any blood that had anything to do with the way I died. I died peacefully and naturally in my sleep. I just at some point had written in blood somewhere, give my heart to Jeff Kanata.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say that you need a heart, you need a transplant. My heart can't just go in your body. There are a lot of things that we need to make sure your body doesn't reject the organs, right? Because genetically, we're not the same person.
Right.
So in order to use my heart, there has been a process that's been used where we can take my heart, basically bleach it. Bleach most of the mass off of my heart to where you get to like the scaffolding, the webbing, the netting that makes up the structure of a heart. Take some of your stem cells from your spine, put it onto the scaffolding of my heart. Your stem cells know enough to go, oh, this is a heart. We're supposed to make a human heart.
I'm going to grow into a heart now, even though I didn't come out of a heart.
Yes.
Stem cells, that's the magic of stem cells, is that they are ready to, they're blank canvases in their own right. Huge, giant, valuable blank canvases. That
like a Rothko, but with heart.
Exactly. And they can become whatever they need to become. And then now it's got my essence. It's able to go into my body.
Right. The problem with that is they haven't gotten the organs that go through that process to go up to 100% efficiency. Those organs work at about 10 to 20% efficiency. So they're not as strong, they're not as hardy, they're not as healthy. And it's because, we're going through this process of removing all of the working cells from it because it can't have any of my cells. It has to have your cells. The problem is then your stem cells are building a heart, and they're basically building a heart with we theorize they're building a heart with their own information about hearts, and they don't have other heart stem cells to compare to that are there. You know what I mean?
Especially if they're my cells. They don't know shit about hearts.
They don't know anything about hearts. They don't know anything about emotion. They don't know anything about love.
They're just trying their hardest, but
they're learning.
They're and is it? Let's be honest. We run an award-winning science podcast. I barely know what a heart does.
Barely. So that's one of the reasons scaffolding is something that could eventually become incredibly useful to us. The other problem, but what if we could grow a hardy human heart, lung, organ, something like that inside of an animal that we could then maybe use your stem cells on, or maybe not. Yeah. Maybe we can find a way to make a pig or some sort of primate grow a heart that's similar enough to yours that it's okay.
Yeah, there's nothing problematic about that at all. Just rip that organ out of that creature. Well, just take that primate, look it deep in the eye, and say, the only reason you exist is to grow me a heart, and I will now remove it from you.
Good day.
Violently, if need be, and take it and use it for my own, because that's the only reason you were even brought into this world.
And of course, the monkey does not understand that, and so everything's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Of course, the monkeys won't band together and defend themselves against future atrocities.
I must keep reminding you at this point. I must keep reminding you, and I will keep reminding you, James Franco movies are not future documentaries. I don't even know what that means when you said it to me. I don't even understand that concept.
I mean, there's so many James Franco movies that seem to be sent back in time to teach me things.
I don't think that's true, because the first time you said that was Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. Yes.
James Franco is not going to try to insinuate his way into your life and then destroy you with a glider. No! I don't understand how you're the host of an award-winning science podcast.
It's because I've survived long enough learning from James Franco movies, Anthony.
That's true. I don't think that's true. The number of times I've come over to Jeff's house and he's just put himself under a couch and is trying to saw off his own arm. I don't even know why that's the lesson you took from that. The lesson from 127 hours is not saw off your own arm.
He did a great job doing it. He survived. Listen, I have 2 pieces of data for you.
Yeah.
I watched the James Franco movie.
Yeah.
And I'm still alive. QED.
I think we're going to get to episode like 800. I'm planning for episode 800 an episode about the transitive property. It's going to be a doozy. It's going to be a doozy. About the transitive property, correlation and causation is episode 800. But listen, this is something that we've been working on for a little while. Just in December, pig primate chimeras have been born live.
Oh, wow.
They died within a week, but hey, they were born. They lived for a week.
They screamed the entire week.
They screamed the entire week.
Constant pig primate screams, which if you've ever heard a pig scream and a primate scream individually, try to imagine the mashup of that.
It is a horrible, horrible thing to experience, but a great sound to set as your alarm in the morning.
Oh, it'll get you up. It will get you up. The combination of the squee and the yelp, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You just
squelp.
The trick is you put your phone, don't sleep with your phone in your room. You put your phone in another room.
Yeah.
And you set it to be the pig monkey chimera dying sound.
The squelp.
The squelp is what they call it in science. They call it a squelp. But the reason why they did this is they're trying to find out. This was in China in 2017. The Salk Institute in California. We created pig-human chimeras here in America as well. Only 1 in 100,000 cells were human. Only 1 in 100,000.
Hey,
and
that's less than 4%.
And the embryos were only allowed to develop for a month because of the concern of what happens when an animal becomes too human.
Oh, but don't we kind of want to find out a little bit?
Now, Jeff, you're going back on everything James Franco taught you.
I know.
You're being inconsistent in your learnings.
But you know what? James Franco has also told me that sometimes you just get real high and try stuff. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
So I saw the what's the one where he gets real high and tries stuff?
What
the one with Seth Rogen?
The one movie where James Franco gets real high and tries stuff?
Yeah, you know the one.
Green Hornet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is kind of an interesting thing, right? Because the idea is we can't grow these organs. Look, on an infinite timeline, what do we want? We want to be able to grow organs safely and quickly in lab environments that if you need a heart, we can just get you a heart as soon as you need one, right? Within weeks if we have to.
We can just we got an entire primate farm waiting to give you your heart.
Right? And so ultimately what we want is something where we don't need to involve an animal, we don't need to involve a donor of any kind. We want to be able to help people.
We don't even need to involve James Franco.
We probably shouldn't. Once again, he's an actor. You're an actor. I don't understand how you don't know or understand what James Franco is. How many degrees do you think James Franco has?
All of them?
I wouldn't be surprised. That son of a bitch does do a lot.
He's a busy dude.
Busy dude. But no, we want to get to that point where we don't have to factor these moral and ethical questions into things, right? But the unfortunate fact is, because we want it to just be like, we can grow you a heart. And don't worry, right. It's just a brand new heart that we grew, and nobody had to be hurt for this to happen. Nobody had to die for this to happen. An animal didn't have to be hurt. You can know that this equation, it all goes back. Like, there's this Sunday school thing that they ask you. It's like, hey, if or maybe this is just in Hebrew school. I don't know if they do this in like in like where in Gentile
Goyim schools.
In Goyim schools for the Gentiles. But there's a thing where it's like, hey, we need to talk about like, the fact that the very first tenet is human life comes before everything else, right?
Right. Human
life, if you have to do something that's like, well, you're not supposed to break a window, right? But if you can see that there's like an old woman choking inside a house and you got to break a window to get in there and give her the Heimlich, you break the fucking window, right?
Right.
So there's this.
In this analogy, the window is the primate's body, and the lady choking inside is a functioning heart that we grew.
And I'm James Franco.
I see it now.
Do you understand
when you
now?
put it in those terms, I understand.
Yeah. No, but then they start with easy ones and then they go to harder ones. It's like, hey, it's your grandmother and she's drowning next to a young person that you don't know, and you think you can only carry one of them back to shore. What do? Right? It's the trolley experiment. Do you kill one person?
Right.
Do you kill 8 people? No matter what lever you pull, somebody gets hurt. We could save your life, but we have to hurt this pig. Do we hurt the pig?
Yes.
Yeah, we hurt the pig. Do we hurt do we hurt the monkey? Yes, we hurt the monkey. And it fucking sucks.
Right.
It fucking sucks, but that's what we have to do.
But this is where the magic property of cognitive dissonance comes in, because if I didn't see you hurt the pig or the monkey, I can still enjoy my delicious ribs.
Baby, I don't eat chicken. I eat drumsticks. And drumsticks come in a package, and they don't look like chicken. I like chicken.
A chicky nug. I like a delicious chicky nug.
Ooh, love a chicky nug. Who don't love a chicky nug? Come on.
We all love a chicky nug. Who knows what horrors were caused that chicky nug into being?
Oh, I know exactly what horrors it is. Look up pink slime, my dudes.
I don't got to think about that, though.
No.
I don't got to think about that.
I mean, that's the thing, is we live in a society where, number one, the movie The Joker taught me that, number one, we live in a society. Hey, everyone.
Thank you, the Joker.
We live in a society. Thank you, Joker. But number two, we do live in a society where, especially here in the States, but in most other countries now as well, we are abstracted from the process of where our food comes from. Food comes from store. Food comes in a package. Food says, eat me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So it's tough, but there are, you do have to think about, but we do have that cultural thing of what animal can you eat and what animal can't you eat?
Let me ask you this question. What
animal can you What animal can you hurt and what animal can't you hurt?
What is the percentage we need to get to of human to put this heart in me? So here's
here's the thing that I'm wondering. I'm wondering that same thing too, right? Because you would expect. I mean, look, I'm not James Franco, but it would seem to me that in order to grow a human heart, or a heart that would be accepted by a human, it'd have to be majority human.
You're saying 51%
at least
we're good to go?
No, I'm not saying it happens at 51. I'd love it if it did.
Yeah.
I'd love it if it did. But here's the thing, man. If something about this mouse has to be 51% human or 49% human and 51% mouse. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, now we're playing with fire ethically.
Well, I feel like, once we get to that point, is it going to look like a mouse still? It's going to look like 51% human.
The mouse that your heart transplant comes from looks like a mouse, except it has a tiny version of your face. And they're just like, listen, you don't need to worry about it. It's just a mouse. We just start the heart off in this mouse, and then when it gets too big, we can put it in a tube, and it grows in the lab. And don't worry about the mouse. I mean, it's just a mouse, right? And then you look down, and you can see, Jeff, the little mouse. The little mouse has fashioned its own little D20. The little mouse has been
playing little Dungeons and Dragons.
It's creating little folk games for it and the other mice.
Oh my.
But you gotta kill, and listen, these mice, they're meeting every Thursday, and you know how hard it is to set up a group.
They organized that?
They organized it.
They cleared their schedules?
Look, every Thursday, these mice come after they're experimented on all day, and they sit down, and no matter how tired they are or what they've got going on, they make sure to carve out 3 hours for a good session of D&D.
Man.
But listen.
You know what those mice have?
What?
They got a real good heart. You know what I'm saying?
And it's about to be yours, my dude. And we don't want you to worry too much about that. Okay? Listen, are these mice left without a DM? Sure. Yeah. Is it hard to find a replacement DM? Incredibly hard. Nobody wants to DM.
We've all been there. It's tough. Basically, your games fall apart at that point.
Game night's over for these mice, Jeff. But it's okay. Yeah. Because you're going to live. How do you feel?
Tiny little mouse DM me.
You wouldn't believe how small their Hero Forge minis are.
Oh my god!
And the detail on a Hero Forge that small, it's unbelievable. Listen, head to our coupon code Hero. No, we don't have that.
The scientists just hand me the magnifying glass and they're like, "Just check out the minis.
Check out the minis. Isn't that amazing? He's such a creative little mouse, and his heart's going to be yours." Maybe we checked, and genetically that creativity did not come from you. So maybe you're going to get a little bit of that creativity back. Here's the thing that I'm interested in. Even if you get an animal, even if they get this animal organ to the point where it's like 90% human and it works with your body and things. I'm worried about microchimerism. Have you heard about this?
I would assume that's the same as a chimera, but smaller.
It's very small. You should see the Hero Forge minis that this tiny chimera has.
Oh man, it's chimeras all the way down.
Microchimerism is the sharing of the sharing of a tiny amount of these cells between two living things. It happens mostly in mothers and children. So like,
oh yes, I have heard of this.
So like, you had a son,
right.
So your wife now, and probably for the next 15 to 20 years, will be carrying, and they can track this by the Y chromosome in the son's cells, will be carrying some of your son's cells.
That explains her penis.
That...
I mean, I've just been curious. I've been curious about it.
Sure.
You know?
Sure. I mean, listen, I would say that communication is a healthy part of any marriage, and maybe I would have asked about it a little bit beforehand, but...
Yeah, you know, it's one of those subjects that's a little touchy.
I'm moving on from this. I am moving on from this bit. I am moving on from this bit.
I have heard of microchimeras, and also I'm...
Do you say that? Do you expect me to cut that out? Because I'm not cutting that out.
No, I do not. Listen, I know you.
No, here's the thing: is like, and microchimerism, from what we've been able to tell, is both helpful and hurtful. It's part of who we are, obviously, because this is how life continues. Mothers give birth to children. That's what it's about. So obviously, since we have been giving birth, we have been sharing these cells between mother and child. And what they've found is they are both helpful and hurtful. And the reason they're both helpful and hurtful is because they want to, these cells want to survive. Right? And so we have evolved in such a way that our systems are made for microchimerism between mother and son. They say that it can help with certain chronic diseases. It can hurt with certain chronic diseases. It can help with certain systems and things like that. But what's really interesting to me is thinking about the fact of microchimerism and what happens when we are all carrying around, or you have a transplant and you are carrying around a certain number of foreign animal cells. Yeah. And how does that affect things like immunity and things like this? This is not going to be a flat out rejection of an organ like we see. This is not going to be a flat out, a graft, that graft, I forget what the name of it is, but people get a skin graft and sometimes they wind up overgrowing cells or growing cancerous cells because of a rejection of the graft. But this will be something that could subtly change our biology.
Man,
maybe we get monkey powers.
I can hope, right?
I mean,
or mice powers would even be nice.
You remember in that James Franco movie where he gets goblin powers from goblin DNA?
Again, a documentary from the future.
At what point, what percentage human cells would they have to say are in this pig before you got touchy about accepting a heart from the pig?
I mean, I do feel like I'm on team.
It's okay to say none.
Human life. Well, I'm on team human life prevails, right? Mm-hmm. If they tell me that this pig heart is going to work in me and I need a heart, I'm not quibbling about percentages.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever percentage it needs to be to make it work, if I'm in a life-threatening situation, I'm in on pig heart.
75% human cells. This pig is somehow 75% human. You're going to take the heart?
I'll take that heart.
75.
If it works.
Yeah.
I'll have 25% pig heart. Yeah.
And I'll eat that pig for dinner. I would love to know. I think, oh man, it's weird for me. Once it gets over, you'd have to, it would literally be like the 99% fat-free thing. You would have to tell me, I think, that this animal was still 51% pig. And even then, I'd still be weird about it. I think anything over 20%, I start to get touchy. I start to get really weird. Now, if you told me it was for like my sister, then I think if it was for my sister, I could go up to 60 to 70%. For me myself,
you're thinking now we're harvesting something that's mostly human is your problem. You're like, we're actually
Yes.
We're actually crossed the line over into now we just grew a human being-ish thing.
And I understand that it's not going to be one-to-one. Those 75% could be things like liver and bloodstream and stuff. It may not be the brain. It may not be, it may not be anything that changes the way this animal perceives the world, but there's something about that raw number that fucks with me. You know what I mean?
It's funny. I was interpreting your question as what would weird you out about what would be inside you if they transplanted a heart into you.
Interesting.
What percentage of animal you would weird you out?
If they said 100, like if they said, listen, this heart is 100% pig. It's just a pig heart. You're a pig heart man now.
Right.
I'd be like, fuck, I guess I'm the pig heart man.
By the way, the new James Franco movie, Pig Heart Man, I'm so bummed it got delayed because I was going to be first in line to see how that played out.
Okay, now I am starting to see where you're coming from. If any of y'all have a percentage or a place where you stop in this situation.
How much is too human? How much is too human to harvest?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. You can talk about it in the Discord. You can talk about it on Twitter. You can talk about it on Facebook. We've got those links in the show description. But I want to focus on that Discord for just a second, Jeff Kanata.
It's a very good place.
It's a very good place.
Full of very good people.
It's a very good place full of concerned citizens like yourself who listen to the show and enjoy it. We talk about everything. It's not just about the show. People are talking about games. People are talking about movies. People are talking about what they do. They're just hanging out, sharing stuff that they find interesting. Folks.
Just great people being great together on the Discord. Go be part of them.
How do I become part of the Discord, you ask? It's very, very easy. Just head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. Give us $1 or more a month. Just $1 a month. And you get...
It's so easy.
You get access to that Discord. We're practically... Listen. If it were up to me... we wouldn't charge any money at all. But you know what I'm saying? I got the boss on our backs. We got to keep the riffraff out. You know?
That boss man. That pesky rent asking fella.
You know what I mean? Listen. Yeah. I got to explain it to the people upstairs. Yeah, we have Concerns Industries at the top floor. You know what I mean?
The paperwork alone.
Oh, I wish I didn't have to answer to that guy or do that paperwork, but I do. So for $1 a month or more, you get onto the Discord. For $3 a month, you get those cold opens, those discussions that we have before the show even starts. You hear us talking about them. You hear the ending of those combos.
They're real. They're full of insight and value. You're gonna get more than $3 of value just from those conversations alone.
I will say, people are like, hey. I love the show. I love all the shows that you guys do. It's kind of interesting. I would love to hear the two of you together talking about more of the pop culture stuff that you talk about on your other shows. We do that a lot in the pre-show.
We do it. You could be listening to it for just $3 a month. It's like nothing. It's like basically nothing.
We also do video hangouts. You can get episodes early, all kinds of interesting stuff. If you want to help out the show, this is the way to do it. Head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.
Hey, Anthony, I noticed you just got a little personal grooming done. You were pretty shaggy last time I saw you.
I know. My goal was, and I was very, very, very into this for the first, I don't know, what are we at? 397 months? For the first couple months, I was very into the idea of going full Howard Hughes. It was very interesting to me. Remember, I was saying it all the time. I was like, I can't wait to have like a big, crazy old prospector beard. I can't wait to have like the hair that's just like, I want to be the new GIF for it's been 80 years. You know what I mean? I want me to replace.
You want to be Rip Van Winkle.
Yeah, I wanted to replace that woman with the heart of the ocean. I want to be that GIF. You want
to emerge from quarantine a completely different person, transformed.
I couldn't do it though. I was getting too big. Everything was getting too itchy. Everything was feeling dirty. Yeah. I eat a lot of ice cream. And
it gets in the beard.
Dude, listen, even when you wipe everything off the beard, listen, this may be too much beard information for y'all, but let's go real. I hope we can always be honest with you, concerned citizens. Jeff, you've got a beard right now, and you know what I'm talking about. You can smell a little bit of that dairy for like a little while after. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you don't,
like a little bit.
Wash.
But I go and but just for like a little bit after, even a few minutes is too much for me. We're like, if you eat something with a lot of butter, if you have ice cream and there's like dairy, there's just a little bit. You have a latte or something, you can just smell everything in your beard, and the longer the beard, the more you smell it. And I had to get rid of it.
Well, you mentioned I have a beard now. Yeah, you didn't know me very much when I really haven't had a beard my whole life until
You're
these
such
days.
a clean-cut young man.
Yeah, now I'm in the bearded brotherhood. You're a person that has intermittent beards. Let's talk about beards, because we got this story sent to us on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/we have concerns. This was sent by our old friend Mark Nuffer.
Mark, no nickname Nuffer, they call him.
That's what they call him everywhere he goes. Mark, no nickname Nuffer.
They say, "What's up, no nickname?"
Yeah, that's how he's known here and there. It's kind of his nickname, really. This is an article on Live Science about beards and why we have them.
Well, because it grows uncontrollably from my face.
Well, there's that. But why evolutionarily did human males start growing beards? What possible benefit would there be? Why would we start having this phenomenon grow out our face at puberty? It doesn't seem to be some. What's that?
I got a theory.
Okay.
I got a theory. You know, I like to guess at these. So first of all, it's less about why do we grow them and why didn't we lose them, right? It's more about why didn't we lose all of the hair on our faces? And I have to imagine that there are a couple reasons. I will say one is probably protection in cold. One is probably keeping stuff out of our mouths, harmful particles and things like that out of our mouths.
Attempting to prevent you from eating as much ice cream as you would like.
Yeah.
It's evolutionarily, so many people.
But we beat it.
We defeated it.
We defeated evolution, and now I eat a whole pint at a time.
Take that, Darwinism.
Take that, nature. But no, because I'm thinking about why we still have our eyebrows. It keeps sweat out. It keeps like things, it kind of shields a little bit from the sun. I think it protects from injury and disease and cold, the elements.
I think that I probably would have guessed along those lines as well. This article presents a different theory. In fact, this is a theory that has been put to the test by some
jackass
scientists, some jackasses. This is a new study published online April 15th in the journal Integrative Organismal Biology. Integrative Organismal Biology. You've got a few copies sitting on your coffee table, I think.
Sure. That actually reminds me that my subscription's running out and I got to fill out that card.
Yeah. I'm glad to help out. You do not want to miss next month's issue.
Woo, baby. If they're just getting to beards now, that means next month we're really ratcheting it up.
All right. So the authors of this study presented the hypothesis that what if beards
was one of us?
What if beards exist to pad your face from other males punching it? What if it's literally a protective pad for
this sounds
the
like
hunters?
This is a study written by some dudes who've never been punched.
What if it is all about the hunter-gatherer, the evolutionary
Nope.
Homo sapien sapien getting into fights, punching each other, and the ones that survived had them cushy beards.
No.
And so evolution said we need more of them cushy beards to pad your face. It's basically, you know how you go into a gym and they got the kickboxers, the cardio boxing trainers who got them pads on their hands and their chest, and they go pop pop, and then they swing over your head and you duck underneath and you come back up and you hit the pads real hard. The reason they can do that kind of sweet ass cardio workout is because they got those pads. What if those pads are built into our very biology, Anthony? What if we have pads? We have cardio kickboxing pads growing out of our faces from puberty.
Well, that's why all the best kickboxing pads, all the best boxing gyms actually use real human hair in their pads because they make for the best pads.
No compromises. Do not demand better from your gymnasium. Do not go to any kind of gym or boxing ring that uses anything less than 100% human hair padding.
100%. Occasionally, I'll allow like a lamb's wool or a mink, but you can feel the difference. You can feel that. And let me tell you something. In my gym, we only use parts of human bodies for all the equipment. And you don't need to ask where we got them, where they came from. Don't you worry. Everything is legal.
Oh dear God, what is that? What is that pull-up bar?
It's a femur. It's a couple of femurs.
Just a couple of femurs.
Just a couple of femurs, and you can feel the difference. You can feel the difference.
When your chin crests the rise of that femur, you know you're blasting your lats. You know what I'm saying?
Did you like Transformers: The Rise of the Femur?
Who didn't?
I don't know. I feel like that's kind of when the series jumped the shark. So here's my thing, Jeff.
Yeah.
Those pads is pads. They're thick. They're durable. They're literally full of foam that's like dense. I've had a beard, Jeff. I've had a beard. And let me tell you something. I've never actually been punched while I've had a beard.
Whoa, hello.
Never actually been punched. So
now we see the hole in your experiential.
So I don't have the data,
knowledge.
But I will tell you this: I am a klutz. I've taken some shots to the face from other things while I had a beard, and a beard is not that much padding. That's why I say these researchers have never been punched. These are the thoughts of men who have never been punched, and they don't understand how hard punches are.
Well, this speaks more to your stylish grooming of your beard instead of just letting it all get real, bushy and powerful and patty.
I don't think so. But okay, I'm willing to listen.
All right, here we go. So this is their hypothesis that it grew in response to a need to win male battles. They say a growing body of evidence hints that human skeletons and muscles evolved to support specializations linked to male fighting. And they set about to test this theory by doing a series of experiments. Are you ready for the experiments?
I'm so ready. I hope these researchers just went nuts one night and went totally Fight Club on each other and just took shots and then just all night were punching each other back and forth. I would love that for them.
Scientist Fight Club. Underneath, they found a new laboratory that had a basement.
You ever do that? You ever do that with a friend in your younger, angrier days, where you just decided to get in a real fight with a friend just to do it?
Only wrestling. We would never punch each other, but there was a lot of wrestling on the floor and trying to hold each other down. One
night with a guy I used to work with, one of my old managers at this restaurant that I used to work at, big guy, 6'3",
one of the people upstairs that are always asking for the
paperwork for the Patreon, and I'm like, I'm gonna get it to you. I'm gonna get it to you. This was at a restaurant that I worked at in Brooklyn, and this dude was 6'3" and huge, and I was like, I just wonder what it would be like to fight somebody this big. And we'd had a few drinks, and we literally went out to the street, and I was like, now don't hold back on me though, man. And he was like, okay. And we literally fought. And dude, I came into work the next day, and my whole face was swollen up. I'd managed to give him
because you didn't have a beard. If you'd had a beard, it would have been fine.
How would my beard have protected my eye? How would my beard have protected my eye? And here's the other thing.
That's what eyebrows are for, Anthony.
Here's the other thing that I'm going to come back with is why the face, if it's going to grow hair to protect anything. I mean, I do have chest hair, but I don't have chest hair like I have beard hair. You would think if this was to protect me from being punched, it would be around some organs, not my jaw. Tell me about these experiments. Tell me.
Here's how they went about.
Also, fight me. When this is over, fight me. I can't believe you've never gotten into a real fight with a friend.
I have a beard now, so I have an advantage.
That's true.
You'll never be able to hurt me.
You have a beard, but I have the high ground.
All right, so to test the idea, the scientists built models that approximated the structure of bone in a human skull, and then they cut that bony material. It didn't say what this bony material was, which is a real oversight.
Because I really want to know.
Real oversight in the article.
What you making that fake bone out of, dude?
Listen to this. They cut the bony material into bricks. How do you make a brick out of bone?
Oh, man. That's
bone bricks?
the bone bricks.
That's what I want to build my castle out of when I eventually turn full dark side.
Do you remember when the bone bricks lost Best Picture? And we can't even remember what won that year. Sometimes the Oscars are like that.
Yeah, it feels like the bone bricks really should have won because of it really spoke to everyone. It was a metaphor for aging and also masonry.
Yeah, that's the thing. You come in for the story about masonry because we're all interested in masonry movies.
Yeah, it advertised. That's what the trailer made it seem like. It was just a complete masonry.
And that's
movie.
The thing is, you go in based on the masonry. You're ready for all that masonry action and intrigue. And then it turns out it was a very sensitive and emotional movie about aging, but also the masonry.
Yeah, it turns out the bone bricks were inside us all along.
So they made bone bricks.
They made bone bricks and they wrapped them in sheepskin fleece. And here's the quote as to why they chose sheepskin fleece. They decided to go with sheepskin fleece, quote, because it was not practical to obtain fully bearded skin samples from human cadavers.
Cowards. Sounds like cowardice.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because they are. You knew I was going to say it because you know in your heart that they're cowards.
You got to want it more, Mm-hmm. I think you just got to want it more.
You want to prove that beards makes you less susceptible to punching, but not enough that you get beards? Fuck you and your science. You had one job.
You're not going to wait around. You're not going to wait around for bearded dudes to die and get the real beard cadavers?
You're not going to go out there and maybe practice some vigilante justice and collect those beards yourself from those who don't deserve them?
Well, maybe they tried and they just couldn't hurt the bearded. The bearded have such defenses on their face.
I don't buy any of this. So they wrap a bone brick in sheepskin.
Yeah. So it says the sheep's fleece wasn't a perfect analog for beard hair, but the volume of follicles in the fleece samples did approximate the volume of full beards.
Great.
Which is unlikely to be true in the pelts of most other species.
And we all know that. That's just... I hate when they talk down to the audience in these articles.
Yeah. It's obvious. But here, at this point in the article, as I was reading, I thought to myself, well, this is fun. Next, they're going to paint an image in my head of a bunch of scientists punching fleece-wrapped bone bricks and just seeing what they can do. They can punch the shit out of some woolen bone approximations.
Yeah, but I think what they're going to use one of those punching robots.
That's exactly right, Anthony. You're way ahead on this one because they're scientists. They're men of science. These are not...
You got to worry about pounds of pressure per inch. You got to worry about all that. You got to worry about speed.
Yes.
You got to worry about precision. The focus and precision of it. You got to
measurability.
We're talking about...
You got to have measurability.
The only person that could do this reliably each time would be like Bruce Lee. With the 1-inch punch. Only the 1-inch punch. He could roundhouse the exact roundhouse 400 straight times. Or that episode of Batman with the same 1-inch punch.
Yeah.
You remember that episode of Batman?
The Batman episode where he learns the 1-inch punch?
Well, somebody else learns the 1-inch punch.
From Ra's al Ghul? No, is it Ra's al Ghul?
No, it's just some ninja that he grew up with.
Oh.
Anyway.
The old ninja friend from way back. All right. So here's what they did.
So you got to have a punch robot.
They had 3 different lengths of sheep wool beards, I guess. Sheep wool approximated beards. And they built their punching robot, which is basically just a giant metal rod that they dropped from the same height over and over.
Oh, that's so funny.
So they knew exactly how many pounds per square inch are smashing into this beard.
My friend has one of those that he uses because he was doing like a science experiment show, but his is like pneumatic. His is like hydraulic and pneumatic and punches the same pressure every time. But that makes...
What does he need that for?
He was doing a show about where it was kind of like a Mythbusters style show. And he was doing some episode about punch and stuff. And so he has a robot that can like punch, but he apparently made it way too complex because you could just drop it. It's just gravity.
Just
you can just drop it.
And grab it, and you'll know exactly how much it's going to hit every time. They have a scale underneath, so they know exactly it's landing on an anvil that's attached to a scale. This
is how the Amish used to make punch robots.
Yes, it's the butter churning of punch robots.
It's the ornate wooden fireplace of punch robots.
Each punch a bespoke work of art, really.
They've been making these punch robots in their families for generations and generations. And
hey, come out to the field. We're going to be raising another punch robot.
Okay, I'll be right out there, Elijah. I'm just...
Jebediah, grab your bone skull bricks. We're going to be using punch robots later.
Of course, Jebediah, it is written, and so we shall do it, where we are generous with our own belongings, and nothing belongs to anyone as much as it belongs to all of us and the other. But we're always using my bone bricks. Just putting it out there.
Hey, I just want to tell you, if you're gonna step to me again, we will get into another fist fight. And Lord help me, my beard is long.
I would never punch a man with such a long beard. I know that it would be worthless. I'm sorry, Elijah. I'm just on edge. As you know, we sent our son out into the world, and he's just all coked up, and he's not coming back. 90% of them don't, you know.
I hope he didn't shave his beard and lose all his protection against the elements.
He did, and who knows what'll happen the second somebody punches him out there. He'll probably shatter.
Remember the last time we got into a fight? We just punched and punched until the sun went down, none of us feeling a thing.
Those were the days. I still don't feel a thing, if I'm honest. I still don't feel a thing. Yeah, so they dropped it, and what do they find? What do they find, Jeff?
Are you prepared to be shocked? Are you prepared to...
I am, but I don't know if this story has that capability, but go on. So I've been through a lot in the last 2 months.
Yeah. May not be as invested as you would have otherwise been in the outcome.
Might not be as shocked or able to be shocked.
Fair enough. The what they call the furred bundles, which are the bundles that had the biggest bushel of beard hair, or approximate beard hair, they fared the best against the heavyweight, absorbing nearly 30% more energy than the bundles that were sheared or merely plucked.
What does that equate to, though, in terms of injury? And so, like, 30%, it sounds like a lot, but if you're shattering your bone or bruising you anyway, who cares?
Well, listen to this. Under a machine setting for an impact that damaged all of the plucked samples and 95% of the sheared samples.
Not the plucked samples.
All the plucked samples got damaged.
We have no plucked samples left.
We're out of plucked samples.
Good Lord.
We're plucked. Only 45% of the furry samples cracked or shattered. So the underlying bone brick, which in this metaphor is your jaw, only 45%, less than half of them, cracked or shattered when the unbearded or merely plucked, even if you just shave your beard a little bit into some stylish shape, when you look like some kind of cool 5 o'clock shadowed, tall, dark, and handsome stranger, you're still leaving yourself open to a cracked or shattered jaw when you get punched.
So you got to grow a full beard.
You got to be full Amish.
I don't think I want to do it.
This is why Amish fight clubs
are undefeated.
Completely undefeated.
If an Amish dude walks into your underground fight ring, number one, be careful, because it takes a lot for an Amish guy to go to a fight club. Listen, there's some stress going on. Yeah. That dude is about to break. Number two, they're strong.
Yeah.
They're strong.
They've been hoisting up frames for buildings all week.
They don't look strong, but they are wiry. They are wiry as hell. And number three, beard. Beard now.
Beard. Yeah, this is what we know. So it says having a full beard may help prevent vulnerable regions of the facial skeleton from damaging strikes. And they're saying that works by the individual hair fibers absorbing energy from the punch and distributing it over a larger area. So all of that little tiny
if
hairs.
you were to watch it in thousands of frames a second, the hairs would ripple out in a shockwave. Like somebody getting hit in a Guy Ritchie movie.
That's right. If they're all holding hands, your little hair follicles protecting you forming a chain of hair, a hair chain.
So what do we do about this? Do we grow beards? I mean, you already have one. Are you going to grow yours out?
I feel like my only option at this point is to grow it out as big as I can and then join the underground fighting ring circuit.
When was the last time you got punched?
6th grade?
Yeah,
maybe?
right? I think the last time I actually got punched was like that fight that I just told you about when I was like 22.
Yeah.
And I brought that on myself. One would hope that you would not need to grow a beard in this day and age to protect yourself from the punching. But I guess it's...
I mean, maybe that's why there's so many fewer fist fights in Portland. You know what I'm saying?
They never do it. But in Portland, like, sometimes you'll punch somebody and, like, it'll go into the beard and you'll just get lost in there. Like, they'll just need to call a crew to, like, pull you out. It's also heavily waxed there, so sometimes you just get caught.
Yeah, and when you do pull your fist out, it'll come with a like homebrewed beer.
It's so lovely to get in fights in Portland. So, follow-up question: what age do you think you'll be when you finally just stop trimming and just let the beard just not entirely stop trimming, but go like full-on big fucking beard?
I don't know. I feel like I have my wife will never let that happen. She already tells me like, you really need to trim the beard. It's getting out of control.
Your beard looks good.
So, well, it's because I trim it because it was getting out of control, but I appreciate that. I'll tell you this. I never thought I would be a beard guy. As little as just a few months ago. Well, that's not true. As little as a year ago, I remember thinking to myself, I'm just not a beard guy. I'll just never be a beard guy. And then I tried it. And then everybody was like, beard looks really good on you, man. And now I feel like, am I a beard guy for the rest of my life? Is that what I am?
That's why occasionally I shave, because I'm just like, don't box me in, man. Don't box me in.
You can't be tied down. Yeah.
Just when you think I'm a guy with a beard, boom, I'm not. Eat shit.
Yeah.
But I do think, but here's two reasons why the beard works for you. Number one, y'all can't see this, but if you've seen a picture of Jeff recently, he has like the gray and exactly like a sort of not like a Doctor Strange / more like Xanatos from Gargoyles, where like
it is exactly what it is.
Where you've got like the dark beard, but then like the two like white
kids ask your parents,
or probably coming soon to Disney Plus if there's a god.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I said that when you posted your new headshot, I said that you looked like a supernatural detective.
Can I tell you something funny? I've literally gotten not just one, but multiple emails from people asking if I dye my beard white because it's so like symmetrical. Yeah. And I'm like, what kind of monster dyes their beard white? Why would I come on this show with you having dyed my shit white? I'm just asking for it. I'm asking for the jokes.
I've thought about dyeing my hair white or silver, like a cool white. Yeah. I bet it looks dope.
Oh, man,
but beard I wouldn't do. Especially like just a streak in a beard, because it grows out so quickly, it's not worth it.
It really is. It's every other day I got to keep this thing.
You do look like
white, you know.
You do look like, because you look like a supernatural detective. It do look like you got cast on for a CW show and you have a beard, but they wanted to make you look more like a wizard detective, and so they put the two streaks of gray exactly symmetrical on either side of your chin, so you looked a little more wizardly. Sorcery.
That somebody literally legitimately was asking, like, I looked at my beard and was like, you know what I'll do?
Look like a fucking sorcerer? Why wouldn't you ask that?
Two little strips of white right here and here, and I don't even know how you would do that. Just like whitening bleach in lines?
Yeah,
I don't even know how you would
it's
do
not
that.
worth it to bleach the beard, but like for yours, I would just do spray gray like they do on like on a set. You know what I mean? For what you've got going on. Anyway,
then you get it on your hands.
The important thing is, so people ask me if I dye my hands gray all the time because my hands have turned gray in such a lovely way. Anyway,
that's just lack of sunlight. Is what that is.
It's not gray. I tell them it's translucent. and that's been cultivated over time. The quarantine started 2 months ago, but my quarantine started many, many, many decades ago. And it was voluntary. So here we go. I guess beards are for punching. So if you're a boxer, if you're a fighter out there, if you're somebody, grow that beard. Give yourself that advantage. I expect to see, with the release of this study, literally every UFC fighter, when this is all over, to have a giant bushy beard for the pro strats.
Why walk into the ring with a disadvantage as a clean-shaven schmuck, you know?
You don't want to be a clean-shaven schmuck. You definitely don't want to be the last person in the league without a beard, because that's guaranteed to become your nickname then. The clean-shaven schmuck.
Clean-shaven schmuck.
Anyway, that's that for this week, I think. You know what I mean?
Good ending. Really ending it with a lot of enthusiasm.
You know what I mean?
There,
Here's
Anthony.
the thing, Jeff. Can I tell you something? Can I be honest with you? And I hope we can always be honest with each other. I feel
like you said you shaved your beard.
Shaved my beard, and it was the source of my power. They should do a study on that. I was able to get punched, but more than that, I was bearded and virile and full of energy. And now I just want to sit around all day. I don't have the energy to talk for over 45 minutes. I don't have a beard anymore. It was the source.
You picked the wrong profession.
I was like Samson, and now all my power is gone. Yeah. Oh, no. That's what it is. That's what it is, I think. Well, I gotta take a week.
I guess we better
grow the beard back, because that's all it takes with my fucking genes.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'll be back next week. I'll have that energy again. I promise. All right?
Okay. Well, I can't wait to see you bearded and punchable.
Well, I'm always punchable, but next week I'll be bearded. Hey, just as a reminder, if you want some extras, if you want some new stuff, if you want to discuss this episode or anything else you've heard on the show, check out patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. Head to the Discord. You can also head to the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/wehaveconcerns, or to the subreddit, wehaveconcerns.reddit.com.
We also have an email address, wehaveconcernshow@gmail.com, if you want to email us some stories or fun.
So there you go. Talk to us, talk to each other, hang out, grow a beard. That's the lesson. We'll see you next week.